Happy hot summer day. Wow. Hi everybody, I'm Lori. Welcome back to Milkweeds and Roses. Time to do a summer garden tour. In spite of the incredible heat wave we're right in the middle of right now and too much rain in many parts, a lot of the garden is looking good. So I'm always looking for the blessings where I can find them. I wanted to take you on a full tour here and show you the updates, see how some things are doing, get some updates on the things that we just recently put in the ground, check in on them. Oh, and I have a new little friend joining me. Let's see. I think she's just came out to say hi. It's funny when they're young, I think they don't really know what the threats are. She's like, "Are you my mother?" "No, I'm not, darling. But I'm not going to hurt you." Although it is most unusual, I have to say, to be this close. Obviously, I've been told my voice is comforting, but I don't think that's really what people had in mind. Not necessarily to wildlife. Whoop, no, okay. I thought I'd made a new friend. All right. There's a lot of that going around. There are rabbits that have fledged their nest, birds that have fledged, baby rabbits that are out of the nest, trying to learn to fend for themselves. And they find a home in my garden. There's plenty to browse from. I think at this stage in the year, unless you get an entire bonus population of rabbits, even more than usual, the garden will be fine even with a baby rabbit or two. So they're just trying to find their way. And there are enough predators around in this neighborhood that, you know, if they find shelter under a big hosta, who am I to say? Yeah, that's what I say. Every day in the garden is a new adventure. Things to learn, things to see. Even on super hot days like this. It is, in fact, we might actually be setting a record for this time of year. I think it's, wow, a chance of rain is 0%. Well, that's new. But it's like walking through a rain cloud right now. The humidity is 92%, and yeah, like you can't tell, 92%, and the temperature is, I think it's 95. I'm gonna take a look, but ooh, it's a hot one. It's just hot. It's that don't wear shorts and sit on a vinyl seat kind of a day. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. All right, let's get a tour of the garden while I'm still upright, okay? All right, here we go. To start with here, we have Generous Gardener, who had a brief couple of blooms that she put out. I suspect she'll have more, but she's putting on a lot of horizontal growth right now that I will have to tie back down. Or I'm sorry, putting on a lot of vertical growth right now because she is a climber, and I'll have to tie down horizontally because it is from here that new shoots, if not this year, but next year, will form flowers. And kind of the same thing, I've got a bud here for New Dawn. She didn't bloom too much this year, but she was bothered by pests. And I think all that excessive rain that we had for the spring, you know, just really devastated her. I've got not quite sure if this is earwigs, but something is chewing the bejesus out of this thing. So, and I don't use chemicals, so she will survive. It is a Montana clematis, but she is putting on some new growth here. I have beneficial bugs that I put in, and I have another subscription coming, so we'll just kind of keep on top of that one. Meanwhile, Teresa Bonet is also continuing to put on some vertical growth and peeking through the New Dawn clematis. And it's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. It is, you know, covering the arbor. I did add some more mulch to the base because it has just been so hot. And I think I know clematis like to have cooler roots, so that can only help. And since I'm in this corner, I might as well tell you that yes, The robins have fledged. The second showing or second hatchlings of the Mama and Papa Robin have fledged, and they're hopping around the garden here, being fed by Mom and Dad, who are never too far away. The lilac is doing pretty well here. I don't really expect, as in early days, for her to put on a second bloom, even though it is a reblooming lilac. Just keeping her healthy is the main thing, and especially in a container. So I do fertilize her twice a year and make sure that she stays moist. But frankly, in all this rain, that's not much of a problem. And this Annabelle hydrangea, I need to trim up. I have done some trimming, as you can see, because it is just completely flopped over. And I just usually trim them when they start to turn brown like this, because green is one thing in flopping, but brown flopping, that's not gonna work. So I have a variety of different hostas you'll see here, everything from Miss America and Liberty. This one is unnamed. It's a hosta that I've moved from another part of the garden, but it is late blooming and fragrant. See, here is the bloom spike, and hummingbirds and other pollinators love this, so I do keep that on there. Virginia Sakura, putting on some interesting color, some growth. I haven't seen a bloom spike yet, but I think that doesn't happen till August. We're just about there. Drinking gourd hosta, looking good. And again, they love this moisture that we've had, all this rain that we've had. In fact, look how the mulch has relocated here. So I've got to get a rake and bring it back in place. Jack Frost Brunnera, looking good. I kind of like that color. I would like to add some more of those in the spring, actually. It would be kind of nice. Now I have had some damage to this hosta. I don't know if it's slug damage or if it's birds, because you can see that's where the bird feeder was and they come and peck at it, and I think that's more likely what's happened here. I moved that bird feeder around, by the way, so that it's not just one place that gets devastated. Gosh. Okay. We have some other things in here. Mucadenia, putting on some red growth on their leaves. It's just an interesting foliage plant, but I like that. Again, it's a good year for hostas, especially in a shade garden, because they love all that moisture. This has come a long way, this area, frankly, from where it was just even before I retired. There was an awful lot of bare earth, a lot of bare patches, and I've been working to fill them because, you know, a green ground cover is better at preventing weeds than even trying to put down mulch, or heaven forbid landscape fabric. Just avoid landscape fabric, folks, honestly. I pop in some annuals here for a little bit of color, just some easy peasy zinnias. There we go, lemony lace in the background, the ferny color foliage looking good, putting on some big growth. And still slow to go because that is her nature, the climbing hydrangea. I think she would like probably more sun than she's getting back there, but is still growing. This Annabelle hydrangea, oh, hello, sorry. Yike. Wasp landed on me. I have never been stung. I suppose I shouldn't have reacted like that, but yeah. Don't want it to be a first time. Annabelle hydrangea back here looking good, all is well. I think we're starting to see, I don't know if this is slug damage or we had hail with our last go round, just a little bit, not a lot, but more likely this is slug damage finally showing up. This little thing here, what is this now? I don't know. But yeah, bound to happen sooner or later in a garden like this. This would be slug heaven. I think what helps though, keep the numbers down, because I don't, as I said, I don't use insecticides, I don't use pesticides, but I think just encouraging birds to come, because I see robins every day scratching in the ground, trying to find little bugs, little bits to feed their babies and themselves. So I think just keeping a healthy bird population is a good way to go. This is it was just a rogue blackberry plant that showed up, and I popped it in the ground. I only watered it once. I probably need to do that again. If it takes, great. If it doesn't, well, it was a freebie. Nature kind of planted it. Hardy geranium's looking good. And some beautiful new growth here for my roses, which is nice. And my latest little sunflower type. Heritage is still budding up. Had one recent bloom, which is good. Putting on some more. Check out the Aqualegia. I mean, even after the flower, still looking healthy. Hollyhock just about finished the bloom. They bloom from the bottom up. So I lost a big stalk in bloom from the tree removal, which is bound to happen. Just grateful to have them here early, but yeah. So we lost that. And this one, again, that's the last bloom up on top. Planted some more zinnias that I got from a friend of mine. So I'm sure they'll rebloom. I cut them down so that they'd be a little bit healthier and work on root development. So I think she gave me 6 of them. So we'll see how those pop in. I might get some more water to them here. And some new growth on my hollyhock, which is always nice. Check out this hosta corner. Wow, really crazy. Still picking up from storm damage, frankly. It's just going to continue. I cut down a lot of the stalks for the hostas, but if there's the last couple of blooms, I leave those up. Always weeds to pull. This one likes wet spaces. I just pull it on a hot summer day like this and stick it in the sun, and Bob's your uncle. Okay. Again, some more nice vertical growth from the roses, and they're budding up. This is Don Juan. And the bees are finding the catmint. A couple little annuals. Chinese evergreen, that's a houseplant to bring out for summer vacation. Ivy geranium, which looks good when all the blooms are out. She's kind of in between stages right now. And this is my geranium walk with the blooming rose here in the middle. That was a gift from Mother's Day a couple years ago, so I'm glad to still be keeping it alive. And I have, boy, I tell you what, in this heat and humidity and the rain, weeds pop up like nobody's business. But this, I did not plant. So I don't know if that's tree of heaven. If it is, I gotta get right on that. That would be a disaster if it is, but I did not plant that, so I'm not quite sure. I'll have to check into that. I also have some hardy hydrangeas, and my rose is still putting on some more growth here. So are potatoes. I could probably take those out now, see what I've got to work with. My agapanthus, not a lot of blooms yet, but this is the second year in this big container, and they bloom the more they're crowded. I do take this container in the garage and just leave it just like this over the winter. But the bees do like what's blooming, I can tell you that, and they come for it. I grew some alyssum, which didn't do a darn tootin' thing in here. But I do like this. This was from Florette Farms that I grew from seed. It took a long time to take off, but it loves the heat. Bishop of Landolph, dahlia. And again, the bees love these. I better get out of the way. He's like, yeah, I was just talking about you, buddy. Where have you been? Okay, checking it out. It's all good. I just keep it deadheaded. Finally getting some blooms on this beast of a indeterminate cherry tomato. I haven't had a single thing happening from this thing yet. I did fertilize it, and again, I haven't done a whole lot of watering to it, frankly, because it's been so wet. I mean, flooding happening here in parts of Iowa. So I do check the soil regularly just to be sure. I'm keeping up on top of that. Coneflowers, love that. Cosmic Cloud Rose putting on some good blooms. I did trim back the Annabelle hydrangeas here just because they were so flopped and turning brown. They were just really pathetic. I need to do some more, but at least this looks a little better, you know. They are reflushing. They might not get another bloom, but at least the green will continue to grow and make it look nice. And this is a Joe Pye weed that just put itself there. And it's too tall and out of proportion for this area, but again, I'm not into formal gardens, so if she wants to be there, you go for it. And the bees like it too. So that is good. Let's take a look and see what we've got up back around the hill here. Oof, gotta get in some shade. Oh, look at my chive is finally blooming. Isn't that nice? That is nice. You can hear the robin and the cardinal chatting. I don't know if you can see him. See me? The red stands out to me from here, but I don't know if you can see it on camera. Just over the top of the umbrella, he's in a tree. I'm not going to be able to get him, am I? To see him there. Do you see him? Isn't he beautiful? All right. And here in the West Garden, now these are the hostas that have probably been here about 15 years. I've moved them around as the light has changed here. Late blooming, and they're fragrant. Love that. And the rabbits seem to leave them alone. So yeah, very peaceful area here. And you can see that I've also just allowed some things to reseed. This is some Joe Pyeweed. Little Joe Pyeweed. And the birds just, the pollinators just love it. And the birds come because the pollinators and the bugs are here. I have some creeping Jenny, as you could see, that nice chartreuse green along the riverbank, which I think works well here. And the brighter hosta that I planted, I think that's Fire and Ice hosta. I planted that probably 4 years ago. This is my Jackmanii clematis, which has bloomed in May. I trimmed it back, and this looks like new growth. So I've heard it can rebloom. We'll see. And hidden by the hosta is a Vinca minor. So it's got the similar type of foliage, variegation, not as hardy as the kind of Vinca that escapes from your flower pots and runs wild, but it is pretty. And I plan for it to kind of expand along the bank here along with creeping Jenny. It hasn't happened. It's so slow to get started, but it is still alive, so, I mean, that's okay. I kind of like the variegation. I don't know if you can see it there. I might have to move it. And this is the coneflower, the echinacea that I just planted. Still alive and well on a clump of sedum, autumn joy sedum. There's some bearded iris that haven't bloomed yet. Shadowland autumn frost hosta. I planted this 2 years ago. I like how it's brings this nice warmth, bright color to this garden bed because of where it's located and the fact that it gets a lot of shade, dappled light. It tends to recede. So I added that gazing globe to bring some attention here. And my rose, along with the beneficial insects, is putting on some new growth. This is purple basii or basie. So, yeah, so far so good. And this is a tobacco plant that I put in there that I started from seedlings. And I think it just wasn't growing very well because it was too crowded in this little pot I had it in. So I put it there. Some phlox is doing well. This is the first bloom, and then I trimmed back. And there are some new blooms coming up. Gosh, this smells so good. I wish I had smell-o-vision. And up close you can see all the tiny little pollinators crawling around in there, which is so awesome. And there's one that is getting ready to bloom. It has receded a little bit, I think, so I'm kind of tickled about that. I can find it in various places around the garden. And from this angle here, and remember we just planted the artemisias earlier in the week, so far so good. And I also have an Arabella clematis, which is reblooming here in my little fairy garden. It's just a really sweet little clematis. And it's not climbing, it's more of a sprawling, but I've kind of attached it here to a little bamboo pole to give it some height, so it also can help find the sun. There's a dahlia buried down in there, so we'll see if it actually takes off. These are, doing all right so far. And you'll notice in this area, now I cut off the blooms of that particular plant, but the dahlia finally starting to bloom. It's really late. I'll have to look up what variety this is. I think the tags were lost on this one. They were just leftover dahlias and weren't labeled well. My bad. Not a surprise. But yeah, I like the way they look. They're super tall, kind of hidden here by the Joe Pye weed, which has toppled a bit in the recent rainfall. But wow, it's nice. And I tend to favor the open single flower types with the easy to access pollen. Little hosta that just sort of escaped me there, tucked in there. That's okay. Oh, I hate this electrical box. It's just so ugly. I try to mask it, and it's just going to always be a battle, I can tell, because you have to leave a certain amount clear from the front for access, but it just looks awful. And there's another stick that fell from the storm overnight. Can't even tell you what tree that one came from. It just seems to always happen. Oh, check out Major Wheeler honeysuckle. And hummingbirds love this. So also in there I have a Kinsley's Ghost honeysuckle, which is this one is, yes, Kinsley's Ghost. See the lighter and the strange flower that it has. This is just its second year in there. It's a little bit slower growing than Major Wheeler, and a coneflower down in there from last year. Also for my girlfriend Julie, I'm happy it's still, more storm debris. So I'm happy it's still there. But yeah, Major Wheeler honeysuckle. It seems almost like it blooms all summer, which I'm tickled about. Yeah. And another deadheading job. But this dahlia, isn't that nice? Kind of spindly though. I just put them in this pot and I've let them sprawl with plants nearby to prop them up. So I pictured them kind of tumbling down the hill here. I thought would be kind of nice. I might try it a different way next year. So, and again, this is nice. This is Munstead Wood Rose, named after Gertrude Jekyll's home. So it's deep red. This is its second bloom. Down the hill there you see Mrs. Robert Bryden clematis. I've got two of them there wound around that trellis. And this is Carl Forrester grass. It's been in here, maybe 10 years. And because of the conditions in this area, it doesn't get overrun. So it works. And another clematis. And now here we are in my north garden, my new north garden. We did some work here just earlier in the week. But, standing back, I like the way things are starting to look here now that I've got a couple other things in bloom. Well, have to deadhead the bearded iris, or I'm sorry, the daylily here. First of all, Blood, Sweat, and Tears is what that one is. And this is Cookies and Cream. Isn't that just so pretty? It will get bigger. This is just its second year. But I sure like that, the way it brightens up this area. And this is Cardinalis lobelia. Hummingbirds love this bright red. They last, a good couple of weeks. And there's Joe Pye weed. Just looks just as nice in bloom as it does when the bloom is done, but just covered in bees. And I'll have to keep on top of it because it multiplies, I think, fairly fast. My older hibiscus there in the corner hasn't bloomed yet, but it sure is budded up and it's ready. I'm noticing these wispy hostas spikes I'll have to cut. My coneflower that sided itself there, I like that pink. That's kind of sweet. And a variety of hostas. This was a hosta pack that some of them I've transplanted. The astilbe was from last year. And of course, this recent coral bells we just planted are heuchera. This daylily has rebloomed. Isn't that nice? So it does pay to deadhead them early and try to keep on top of that, because sometimes you will get a second bloom before the fall hits. A variety of different things. Dianthus here, which, this is just its second year. I don't know how healthy that one is. Now here is the knockout rose that we just planted. Oh, another daylily too. Yeah, take these off. They're not seeds. Most of the daylilies you see are sterile. They won't rebloom from those things. So just take them off, because all they do is tax the vigor of this daylily. So just snap them off. They look sizable, like they might be other blooms, but they're not. So just, if you see those, take them off, deadhead them. Yeah, there's another one. Let's see. And yeah, no purpose in having those there. A nice little, also sunflower looking, various colors in here. I wanted to get a nice warm border, some different colors, and the trellis kind of blew over in last night's storm. You would think this massive Joe Pye weed would hold it up. Man, she is pretty strong. And that's just a cheap trellis, so I knew it probably wouldn't last long. This is Henry Kelsey, finally with some healthy leaves. This is Seven Sunflower shrub, and these will, as I understand, bloom or turn into something here in the fall, but this is new to me, so this is just the second year it's here. And another transplanted daylilies back in here, but it's kind of a nice way to break up this sea of hostas. And back in there, do you see that? So that is a once blooming rose that I planted last year, kind of slow to get going there. It's kind of hugged up, probably too close to the fence. It's Alchemist is the name of that rose. So we'll see if it really takes off. It's supposed to be kind of vigorous. It isn't so far, but again, kind of a challenging spot. But I like the way this looks from the window. And this thing was really going last night. Big winds, big rains. And in the distance, my fearless garden cohort. He loves to just flop in the sun. Here he's looking for, okay, we're not going to get any shade from this tree here yet, Gabe. And he goes right into more sun. Chihuahuas, am I right? So, but he is just my loyal companion. I don't know what I'd do without him. I had to, block off that hosta. I don't know why the rabbits were just going after that one and not the others. This is the black tupelo tree that we planted this spring. So this is where the ash tree mound used to be. And this guy just loves the sun. I have to really keep a hold of him, keep track of him, because he'll bark when he wants to be inside, but gosh. But the tree's looking good. I have it on a strict watering regimen. And of course we've had a ton of rain on a nice little again, additional coneflower in here that I had to protect from the rabbits. They're not used to these plants in the wide open space here and nothing to police them, so yeah. Okay, well, that'll about do it for today. Yeah, I'm done. Can you tell? Wow. But like I said, even on days like this, it's just a blessing to be out in the garden. So I love it. Things change every day. That's what's exciting. Sometimes for the good, sometimes not. But hey, if I wouldn't have gone out today, I would have missed the baby rabbit hopping right up to me and missed seeing the baby robin to know where it is. So there's stuff happening all the time. And I hope you have just as much excitement, if not more, going on in your garden too. I do hope you subscribe to the channel. It's kind of nice to keep each other posted and stay connected. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you soon.